Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping into something truly fascinating.
Yeah, it's a plan that really captured the imagination.
Exactly. We're talking about India Vision 2020, this huge national blueprint.
Conceptualized by Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam, right?
Yep.
And developed with the Planning Commission.
That's the one. Based heavily on that TIFAC report, the Technology Information Forecasting and Assessment Council.
A very forward-thinking group.
And the goal? Well, it was incredibly audacious. To transform India into a developed nation.
By 2020.
By 2020. Now, here's the interesting part. Not all those goals were met. We know that.
No, not fully.
But its influence, it's still felt today. So our mission here is to unpack it. What made it tick?
Understand its power, yeah.
Why did it face hurdles, and what's its real legacy? Let's dig in.
Okay, so what strikes me first is just how interconnected everything was. It wasn't piecemeal.
Right, not just aiming for, say, economic growth in isolation.
Exactly. It wove together 5 key themes, all meant to work together to push India towards that developed status.
Okay, so lay them out for us. What were these sort of foundational pillars?
Well, the first, maybe the most obvious, was economic growth. They were aiming high, sustained GDP growth over 9%.
Wow, over 9%.
Yeah. But crucially, it wasn't just about the number. It focused on building industries that could compete globally, becoming a real powerhouse in manufacturing and services.
Which leads naturally into the next one, I assume. Technology and innovation.
Precisely. This was huge. The idea was self-reliance, strategic thinking about breakthroughs needed in agriculture, space, energy, even healthcare.
Making India a creator, not just a consumer, of tech.
That's a good way to put it. And this growth, importantly, had to be inclusive. So, Pillar 3, poverty eradication.
Ah, yes. A specific target there, too.
Yep, reduce poverty below 10%. And this wasn't an afterthought, it was central. The plan linked it directly to creating jobs and ensuring quality education was accessible for everyone.
That really speaks to the social conscience baked into the plan.
It does. And to make all that happen, you need the physical backbone, so infrastructure development.
Right. Roads, power, communications.
Exactly. But not just more of the same modern networks. Power grids, communication systems, housing, all aiming for global standards.
Okay, that's 4. What was the 5th pillar?
Social equity. This focused specifically on things like empowering women, making sure education was truly universal, and healthcare reached everyone.
It's a really holistic picture when you lay it out like that. So with these ambitious pillars, what gave the plan its real punch, its strengths?
Well, connecting the dots, I think a major strength was how it turned that grand vision into, well, actual strategies, actionable ones.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Like with infrastructure, it wasn't just, we need more power. It actually outlined specific targets for generation, for grid expansion. That mix of bold vision and concrete steps was powerful.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It sounds like it wasn't just a top-down thing either. It aimed to inspire people.
Absolutely. That was key. It explicitly called on everyone, students, government, industry, to be part of this transformation. It fostered a kind of shared national purpose.
A collective buy-in.
Yeah, and that creates a strong psychological momentum, Beyond just policy documents, it was also praised for balancing different kinds of progress, economic, scientific, even moral development. It wasn't just about GDP.
Right, shaping the nation's character almost.
Sort of, yeah. Its capability as a whole.
But, inevitably, plans this big hit roadblocks. The source material does mention some significant limitations, right, why some goals weren't quite reached.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the sheer scale made implementation a massive challenge from day one.
Just coordinating everything.
Exactly. And while the vision was ambitious, reality bites. The sources mention issues like, well, corruption is mentioned, but also sometimes just a lack of clear accountability at different levels.
Hurdles in execution.
Yes. And perhaps more fundamentally, the challenge of policy continuity. Governments change, priorities shift.
Ah, so initiatives linked to Vision 2020 might lose steam or get shelved.
Precisely. That kind of fragmentation can really undermine a long-term, cohesive plan. These factors definitely slowed things down.
Okay, so reflecting on all this, the vision, the strengths, the hurdles, would you say India Vision 2020 was more than just, another government plan on a shelf?
I think so, yes. It genuinely felt like a dream for a strong, inclusive, and self-reliant India. That's a phrase often associated with it.
A dream, not just a document.
Right. And even though not all the specific targets were hit by 2020, that core vision, it still inspires people, young people, leaders. It set a certain mindset, a level of aspiration.
It laid groundwork for future efforts, perhaps.
Definitely. It articulated what the nation could strive for, which is powerful in itself.
And maybe that leads us to our final thought for you, the listener. What does this whole story, this ambitious national blueprint, really teach us?
Well, it certainly shows the power of having a compelling vision, doesn't it?
Absolutely. But also the immense complexity of actually doing it, implementing something that vast, especially when things like policy priorities can shift.
Exactly. And maybe, most interestingly, how even in an unfulfilled dream, a vision not perfectly realized can still leave a deep mark and shape where a nation goes next.
Something to really mull over, for sure. How vision and reality interact on that grand scale.
Yeah.